Hello there, my quiet friend. Welcome to Calm Warrior Tales for Sleep. Tonight, I want to thank you for simply showing up, for pressing pause on the noise of the world and allowing yourself this moment of softness, this gentle invitation to stillness. I know your day might have been filled with doing, fixing, rushing, perhaps a whirlwind of tasks that left your mind buzzing, or maybe it was simply holding things together the best you could, navigating unspoken expectations or quiet anxieties. That's all right. These feelings are simply echoes of a day well lived, a life fully experienced. Each challenge you faced, each moment of effort has led you here, to this quiet harbor, to this soft space where all burdens can begin to lift. You deserve rest. You deserve peace. You deserve to be held, not by anyone's arms, but by the gentle kindness of night, by the soft embrace of your own sanctuary healing, by the profound quiet that settles around you now. Let go. Let your body melt into the bed beneath you. Feel the soft support of your mattress cradling you gently, allowing every muscle to begin its release. Imagine every point of contact between your body and the bed as a place where tension can simply melt away, dissolving into the softness below, like sugar dissolving in warm water. Feel your shoulders sinking, your hips settling, your legs relaxing completely. Let your breath slow with each passing second, becoming a soft, steady rhythm, like gentle waves on a distant shore or the quiet rising and falling of a sleepy tide. Feel the air moving in and out, effortless and calm, a soothing melody of your own life force. And know this, you are safe now. Here in this space, within this moment, you are completely secure, completely protected, and you are never alone. This quiet presence is here with you, guiding you to a deeper peace, a sanctuary within yourself. Close your eyes softly if you haven't already. Let your eyelids feel heavy, a pleasant weight settling over your gaze, gently obscuring the world outside. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs like a calm, quiet lake, expanding gently from your chest down to your belly, allowing your diaphragm to fully extend. Hold it gently for just a moment, feeling the stillness within, a tiny pause where time seems to stand still, a moment of perfect equilibrium. And then exhale slowly through your mouth, letting out a soft sigh, a gentle release. As you exhale, imagine any tension, any lingering thought, any remaining resistance simply flowing out of your body, carried away on your breath, disappearing into the vast, calm night. Let your shoulders soften. Feel them release their hold, melting down away from your ears as if heavy weights are being lifted. Let your jaw relax, unclenching, allowing your lips to part slightly, releasing any unspoken words or hidden stress. Let your forehead smooth out, erasing any lines of worry, becoming completely serene, like a calm, unruffled surface. You are doing beautifully. Just by being here, just by listening, you are cultivating peace, nurturing your spirit, and preparing your body for the restorative sleep it craves. Let every muscle, every fiber of your being surrender to this profound quiet. Story introduction. Tonight, I'll tell you the story of a girl history almost forgot. Her name is Sybil Ludington. She was 16 years old, a young woman on the cusp of adulthood, but still with the freshness and quiet strength of youth. She carried the wisdom of her years in the countryside, a deep familiarity with the land, and a spirit tempered by the practical demands of farm life. She was the daughter of a colonel, living in the quiet wooded hills of rural New York. This was a time when America was new, still finding its footing, fighting for its freedom from across the ocean, struggling to define its own identity. The air was thick with uncertainty, with whispers of war, with the distant rumble of cannons, but also with the fiery, unwavering spirit of independence that burned in the hearts of many. And one stormy April night in the year 1777, a night when the world outside was wild with wind and rain, when most sensible folks would be huddled safe inside by the comforting glow of a fire, Sybil climbed on a horse and rode through the impenetrable darkness. Not for adventure, not for glory, not for personal gain or recognition, but to wake the scattered men of the militia and warn them that British troops were coming. A perilous, lonely task, born purely out of necessity and profound courage. Her journey, fraught with danger, with the constant threat of unseen enemies or treacherous terrain, and shrouded in the black of night, stretched over miles of unfamiliar and familiar ground. She rode further than many men would dare, facing elements and fears alone, propelled by an invisible force of determination. She rode twice as far as Paul Revere, a name sung through generations and etched in marble, carrying the immense weight of her community's fate on her young shoulders. But for years, for generations, for centuries, her name was barely written into the grand, heroic pages of history. It was a story quietly held, almost lost to time, like a secret whispered among the ancient trees, passed down by those who remembered the true, humble heroes. Tonight, her story rides again. Not loudly, not to conquer, not to stir any unrest, but to gentle your spirit and remind us that courage often whispers, that heroism can be found in the quietest acts of service, in the most unexpected places, in the smallest, bravest decisions. It reminds us that true strength isn't always about shouting from the rooftops or leading grand armies, but about steadfast determination in the face of fear, about answering the call when no one else can. History, in its deepest heart, is full of everyday, remarkable people who simply did what had to be done, driven by a quiet purpose that shone brighter than any battlefield. As you listen, allow her quiet bravery to inspire a sense of calm within you. Let her steadfast determination remind you of your own inner strength, the strength that carries you through your days, through your challenges, through your own quiet battles, the resilience that resides deep within your spirit. Feel a gentle wave of courage ripple through you, knowing that within you lies an unyielding spirit, much like Sybil's, ready to meet whatever comes with grace. Now, let your breath become as steady as a horse's quiet canter, a soft, rhythmic movement that carries you deeper into this peaceful tale, guiding you toward ultimate relaxation. Main story: Sybil Ludington's Midnight Gallop. The rain came hard that evening. It wasn't a gentle drizzle that merely softened the edges of the world, making the trees glisten and the air smell fresh. No, this was a steady, drumming downpour that hammered relentlessly against the roof of the old farmhouse and quickly turned the dusty farm tracks into muddy, swirling rivers. Outside the Ludington farmhouse, the ancient elm trees, standing like silent sentinels, groaned and swayed under the relentless assault of the wind and the heavy sheets of water. Their branches, thick and gnarled, bent almost to the ground, shedding cascades of rainwater that blurred the very outlines of the world. Thunder rolled, a deep, resonant growl that echoed over the hills, shaking the very foundations of the earth beneath the quiet wooden house, a sound that felt both ancient and ominous. Lightning flashed, briefly illuminating the chaotic, ghostly dance of the branches against the bruised, inky sky and the blurred outlines of the distant, dark forest, transforming the familiar landscape into something wild and untamed, a place of shadows and secrets. Inside, a softer, more intimate world existed, a brief respite from the storm's fury. Candlelight, warm and golden, flickered against the rough-hewn log walls of the farmhouse, casting long, dancing shadows that stretched and shrank with every gust of wind that whistled through the gaps in the timbers. The air was thick with the comforting scent of wood smoke and damp earth, a familiar aroma of home. 16-year-old Sybil Ludington sat by the crackling stone fireplace, the radiant warmth a comforting contrast to the cold fury beyond the window panes. Her hands worked with steady, practiced purpose, deftly mending one of her father's worn militia coats. The needle, a slender silver dart, wove in and out of the thick, coarse fabric, a rhythmic, soothing motion that usually calmed her restless mind. Yet, despite the domestic tranquility, her thoughts wandered restlessly. They drifted to the distant sounds of hooves she sometimes heard on the main road, to the unsettling rumors of nearby battles, to the undercurrent of fear she could discern in the hushed, anxious voices of passing travelers who occasionally stopped for news. The war, though often a distant rumble, was ever present, a silent shadow looming over their lives, a constant pressure on their hearts. Her father, Colonel Henry Ludington, a man of quiet strength and unwavering resolve, paced restlessly in the next room, his footsteps a soft, heavy rhythm on the wooden floor, each step laden with unspoken worry. A seasoned officer in the Continental Army, a man who understood the grim realities of conflict, who had seen its ugly face firsthand. He had just returned from Danbury with heavy news that settled like a cold, hard stone in the pit of his stomach. The British were on the move. They were closer than anyone had anticipated, their intentions clear and menacing. Raids had begun, and their path was leading directly toward the vital supply depots in Danbury, and then, inevitably, toward the scattered farms and homesteads of their own community. The danger was no longer distant. It was now at their doorstep. Suddenly, a sharp, urgent knock at the door shattered the quiet rhythm of the evening, ripping through the peace of the home. It wasn't a neighborly knock, but one filled with desperation and immediate peril. A messenger, drenched from head to toe, breathless, his clothes plastered to his body from the deluge, stumbled in, bringing dire news that chilled the room more than the cold rain. British troops had landed on the coast, not far from their very homes, a striking force moving with terrifying speed and brutal efficiency. They were advancing fast, leaving a trail of destruction, setting fires to vital supply depots, seizing provisions, and scattering the few militia companies they encountered with ruthless precision. The nearby towns, including their own, he would undoubtedly fall by morning if no one acted immediately, if no one sounded the alarm. The clock was ticking, mercilessly, each second a precious loss. But the men of the militia, the very soldiers meant to protect them, were scattered across miles of isolated farms and hamlets. They were farmers, blacksmiths, tradesmen, living in their homes, unprepared for such a swift and sudden attack. Someone needed to ride, to sound the alarm through the dark, winding paths of the forest, to knock on doors in the dead of night, to gather every able man before the first light of dawn. It was a perilous task, a race against time and an unseen, relentless enemy. The messenger, utterly exhausted, swaying on his feet, could ride no more. His face was pale, his breath ragged. Colonel Ludington looked at his own horse, standing exhausted and mud-splattered from his recent arduous journey, its head drooping. He sighed, a heavy sound that spoke of the immense burden on his shoulders, the crushing weight of responsibility for his community's safety. Then, his gaze, filled with a desperate hope and a glimmer of recognition, fell upon Sybil, his daughter. Young, yes, but with a spirit that burned steady and bright, a spirit he knew well, a resilience he had seen grow through her childhood. "I can do it," she said, her voice clear and unwavering amidst the distant thunder, cutting through the heavy silence of the room. It wasn't a plea, but a statement of undeniable conviction, a quiet offer born of necessity, of duty. He hesitated, his brow furrowed with concern. "Sybil, the roads, the rain, it's nearly 40 miles. And dangers lurk beyond the light of any lamp. British patrols, loyalists who would betray us, the sheer wilderness itself, treacherous in this storm." She stood, straight-backed and certain, her young face set with a quiet determination that belied her years, her eyes reflecting the flickering candlelight with a steady resolve. "They won't expect a girl. I know the farms. I know the names. I can ride. I've ridden these paths since I was small, in sunlight and storm. I know every turn, every hidden route, every whisper of the wind in these woods. I am faster, father, and less conspicuous. A lone girl on a horse will draw less attention than a man, surely. Her words were few, but each carried the immense weight of her resolve, a strength that emanated from deep within her, a silent promise. Moments later, a whirlwind of hurried preparations. Sybil wrapped herself in a long, heavy cloak, its dark wool offering little protection against the driving rain, but providing a necessary shroud in the impenetrable darkness. Her long brown hair was tucked securely beneath a soaked hood, keeping it from her face as she rode. With a small flickering lantern, its feeble light, a tiny beacon against the vast, consuming night, clutched firmly in one hand, she climbed onto her trusty horse, Star. Star, a strong and intelligent mare, seemed to sense the urgency of the moment. Her ears pricked forward, her breath misting in the cold air. She nickered softly, a sound of understanding and loyalty, stamping a hoof impatiently. With a final shared glance with her father, a silent promise exchanged between them, a bond of trust forged in the face of immense danger, and thunder still growling menacingly above, Sybil nudged Star and disappeared into the churning, inky blackness of the night. The steady drumming of Star's hooves quickly faded into the roar of the wind and rain, swallowed by the vast, wild night. She rode fast. The wind howled past her ears, a constant, mournful companion, chilling her to the very bone, seeming to carry the distant cries of battle. The rain stung her face, cold and relentless, blurring her vision to a tunnel of dim shapes and fleeting shadows. She leaned low over Star's neck, almost becoming one with the mare, whispering words of encouragement to the strong animal, a constant stream of soft reassurances. She guided Star through winding backwoods paths that twisted like gnarled roots, across flooded tracks where water swirled around Star's hooves, threatening to pull her down into the treacherous mud. They navigated over fallen branches that lay like skeletal traps in the darkness, each obstacle a test of their shared resolve. Her face was wet not only with rain, but perhaps with silent tears of fear and determination that blended seamlessly with the deluge, indistinguishable. Her hands, though numb on the reins from the cold and the constant tension, held Star steady, a testament to her years of riding, to the deep, intuitive bond between rider and horse. Every few miles, a small, isolated farmhouse would loom out of the oppressive darkness, a faint glimmer of light from a window, a silent promise of life. She would rein Star in abruptly, slide down, her legs stiff and aching, muscles screaming in protest, and knock loudly, urgently on the weathered wooden door, her knuckles raw and bruised from the impact. "The British are burning Danbury," she would cry out, her voice raspy from the cold and the exertion, but clear and piercing, cutting through the sounds of the storm. "Muster at the Colonel's, before dawn, they are coming. Hurry, for our lives depend on it." Dogs barked wildly, startled by the sudden disturbance, their barks echoing through the quiet farms, carrying the alarm further. Doors would creak open slowly, cautiously, revealing sleepy faces, bewildered and confused at first, their eyes adjusting to the dim light of Sybil's dying lantern. Then, as her urgent, terrifying words sank in, as the gravity of the situation became clear, those faces would transform into expressions of startled action, understanding, and a grim, growing resolve. A flicker of hope, born of terror, in the deep, cold night. The immediate fear was swiftly replaced by a grim determination, a quiet urgency. And then she rode on. No time for pleasantries, no time to linger, no time to explain more. Only the endless, pressing need to warn the next farm, the next family, the next group of sleeping men. The fate of her community, the very spirit of their nascent nation, rested on her solitary journey through the storm. As she rode, a quiet meditation began, a rhythm of survival that transcended conscious thought. The drumming rain against her hood, the steady beat of Star's hooves on the muddy ground, her own quickened breath. They all merged into a singular calming pulse, a steady hum in the vast emptiness of the night. She found herself focusing on the sensation of the rough saddle beneath her, the rhythmic swing of Star's powerful body, the feeling of her own heart beating strongly within her chest, a vital drum. With each mile, the initial terror, sharp and piercing, slowly gave way to a focused determination, a quiet strength that felt almost ancient, deeply rooted within her. She became less a girl and more a vessel for a desperate, urgent purpose. At one point, deep in a particularly treacherous stretch of forest, where the path was barely more than a deer trail, winding and obscured by thick undergrowth, Star stumbled violently in a hidden rut, nearly throwing Sybil from her back. Her heart leaped into her throat, a frantic bird, but she held on, clinging to the reins with all her might, her muscles screaming in protest. Sybil dismounted quickly, her legs stiff and aching, every movement a protest from her exhausted body, and checked Star's hooves carefully in the dim, shaky light of her dying lantern, whispering urgent, loving reassurances to the frightened mare. "Easy, girl, easy," she murmured, her voice a soft, hoarse comfort. She felt the warmth of Star's damp fur, the steady beat of her mare's heart, a shared lifeline in the desolate darkness. She pressed forward, knowing there was no time to stop for proper rest, no time to fully recover from the near fall. The lives of her neighbors depended on her. There was no other choice but to continue. At another point, her route led her past a vast, desolate marsh, where the unseen ground seemed to breathe with a cold, damp energy, exhaling the scent of stagnant water and decaying leaves. Frogs croaked an eerie, nocturnal chorus, their voices amplified by the storm's brief, unsettling lulls, an unsettling symphony that seemed to mock her solitude. Lightning suddenly lit the sky in a blinding, almost terrifying flash, revealing the twisted, skeletal branches of dead trees, reaching like ghostly fingers from the stagnant water, transforming the familiar landscape into a nightmare vision of stark, unnatural beauty. Her heavy cloak flapped wildly like a flag behind her, catching the fierce wind, trying to tear itself from her body, and her heart pounded like a war drum against her ribs, a frantic rhythm that matched the storm's fury. Fear was a cold knot in her stomach, a constant companion in the darkness, but the thought of her father, of the undefended homes, of the fires burning in Danbury, propelled her onward, overriding every instinct to stop, to find shelter, to give in to exhaustion. Somewhere, in the deepest, most isolated part of the woods, far from any human dwelling, far from any comforting light or familiar landmark, the small lantern gave out. Its light sputtered, flickered one last time, a final gasp, and then died completely, plunging Sybil into absolute suffocating darkness. The rain seemed even heavier now, a relentless curtain. The wind, colder, seemed to whisper unseen threats. The sounds of the night, previously muted, now became menacing, immediate. The rustle of unseen creatures, the drip of water from unseen leaves. For a moment, a wave of despair threatened to overwhelm her. A sudden, crushing loneliness, a chilling sense of being utterly lost. But then, a quiet strength, a fierce determination, bloomed within her, fueled by the image of her family, her neighbors, sleeping peacefully, unaware of the impending danger. She thought of their faces, their safety, and a new kind of light, an inner one, seemed to ignite. Sybil kept riding, guided now only by muscle memory of paths ridden countless times since childhood. Her body knew the way even when her eyes could not see. By instinct honed by years in these woods, by the subtle feel of the ground beneath Star's hooves, and by the pure, unadulterated courage that burned like a hidden, steady flame in her young heart. She became one with Star, trusting the mare's sure footing, relying on her own deep knowledge of the terrain, sensing every dip and rise, every turn in the path, every hidden stone. The sounds of the storm became her compass, the rustling leaves a soft encouragement, the distant thunder a reminder of the urgent, ticking clock that drove her forward. She closed her eyes for brief moments, not to rest, but to visualize the turns, the landmarks, the next farmhouse, drawing on a mental map etched into her memory, a vivid tapestry of the land. Her mission, the protection of her community, was her only light, her unwavering guide through the absolute black. Each breath she took was a quiet affirmation of her resolve, a silent prayer, a steady rhythm against the chaos. If this journey is bringing you comfort, know that there are more stories waiting. Stories of quiet bravery, of gentle resilience, of peace found in the most unexpected places. Subscribing is like leaving a lantern in the window, a small sign that you'd like to return to this peaceful haven, to hear more whispers of courage and calm, to find your own quiet strength in these gentle tales. It's a way to keep this light glowing for yourself and others seeking rest. As dawn approached, a faint, almost imperceptible gray began to lighten the eastern sky, pushing back against the oppressive darkness. The rain, though still falling, softened to a steady patter, losing its fury, becoming a gentle drizzle that cleansed the air. Sybil, soaked to the bone, mud splattered across her boots and clothes. Her hair matted and heavy, finally returned home. Star, though weary, her flanks heaving with exertion, carried her faithfully to the Ludington farmhouse, her steps slow but sure. Sleep, a heavy, irresistible cloak, clung to her eyes, blurring the familiar shapes of her home into soft, indistinct forms, making the world seem dreamlike. Her mother, her face etched with worry, but now radiating immense relief, rushed forward, wrapping her in a thick, warm blanket, pulling her close, murmuring words of comfort and love. Her father, Colonel Ludington, his eyes filled with a mixture of profound relief and overwhelming pride, placed a gentle, affirming hand on her shoulder. His silence spoke volumes, a testament to her incredible feat, a recognition of her sacrifice. Thanks to her astonishing solitary ride through the storm, a journey of courage and endurance, over 400 militiamen gathered in time to defend the region, to push back against the British advance, to protect their homes and families. Her swift warning gave them the precious hours they needed to prepare, to stand their ground. Her name wasn't sung in school books. No grand statues were built in her honor. Not then, not for many, many years. Her act of heroism, though pivotal, remained largely a family legend. A quiet truth held close by those who remembered the true, humble heroes who built a nation. But that night, a young girl named Sybil Ludington rode into history, a silent hero, a beacon of courage in the dark, her legacy woven into the very fabric of American independence, a testament to the power of a single, determined heart. Emotional transition. Sybil's ride ended that night, but her story is still riding quietly through time, like a whisper carried on the wind through ancient trees, a gentle rustle in the leaves of history. It whispers to us of a different kind of strength, a strength that often goes unnoticed, unheralded, yet is incredibly powerful and deeply resonant. It's the strength found in quiet determination, in selfless action. She didn't ask for medals. She didn't demand a page in textbooks. She didn't seek recognition or applause, nor did she perform her feat for any worldly reward. Her motivation was pure, to protect her home, her family, her community, driven by a deep sense of belonging and responsibility. She simply did what had to be done. She responded to a dire need, a silent call for help with an unwavering heart, a quiet determination that shone brighter than any lantern in the storm, a flame of courage that defied the darkness. She didn't hesitate. She acted, moving with purpose and grace even when fear was a cold companion. And perhaps that's what true bravery often looks like. Not the loudest moment, not the flashiest act that draws all eyes and grand applause, but the quietest decision to step forward when fear threatens to hold you back, when doubt clouds your path. It's the unwavering resolve to do what is right, even when no one is watching, even when the path is dark and uncertain, even when the odds seem insurmountable. It is the courage to persist, breath by breath, step by step, through the daunting unknown, trusting your inner compass. Just like you choosing to rest tonight, not because the world allowed it, not because all your tasks are completed, not because every problem is solved, but because your soul needed it. Because you understood that peace is not something to be earned, a prize at the end of a race, but something to be embraced, a fundamental right that you grant yourself in this very moment. You're doing enough. You always are. You have accomplished much just by navigating your day. You are enough, exactly as you are, right here, right now, perfectly whole and complete. Allow the gentle rhythm of Sybil's gallop to fade now, leaving only the soft echo of her courage, her quiet strength in your heart, a comforting presence. Feel that strength settle into your bones, a quiet assurance that you too are capable of navigating the dark paths of your own life with grace and inner resolve. That within you lies a wellspring of resilience waiting to be drawn upon, a quiet power that guides you. There is nothing more you need to do, nothing more you need to prove. All effort can now be released. Simply be. Simply rest. Let your breath deepen, softening with each passing moment, carrying you further into the quiet of the night, into a profound healing stillness. Relaxation and body scan. Now let the story settle, like the soft mist that rises from the ground after a long rain, letting the landscape soften and blur, letting all sharp edges disappear. Let your mind release its last thoughts, letting them gently dissipate into the quiet air around you. Imagine them as small, wispy clouds, drifting effortlessly away into the vast, clear sky, leaving behind a tranquil expanse. Breathe in, slowly and deeply, feeling the cool, refreshing air fill your lungs from the very bottom, expanding gently like a calm, quiet lake, allowing your entire torso to soften and swell with peace. And as you exhale, feel your forehead soften, releasing any tension held between your brows, allowing a sense of smoothness and serenity to spread across your entire face, like a gentle hand smoothing away worry, leaving your brow completely relaxed. Breathe in again, and as you exhale, feel your jaw relax, letting your lips part slightly, allowing any unconscious clenching to melt away. Your cheeks soften, your temples ease. Let your entire facial area feel loose and completely at peace, a gentle mask of tranquility. With your next gentle breath in, feel your eyes growing heavy, softly sinking into their sockets, as if resting on tiny soft pillows. Let all the seeing of the day fade into gentle darkness, allowing your gaze to soften inward. Then, as you exhale, feel your neck and shoulders sink deeper into the bed beneath you, letting go of any burdens, any worries you might have carried throughout the day. Imagine them melting away, flowing down and out through your fingertips, leaving your neck long and supple, and your shoulders broad and completely relaxed, away from your ears. Let your arms grow heavy, warm, and still, resting comfortably by your sides, completely at ease. Feel a gentle, comforting warmth spread from your shoulders, down your upper arms, through your elbows, forearms, wrists, and into your hands. Your fingers are soft and loose, gently curled or resting open, completely free of tension. Let your chest rise and fall like the steady, gentle rhythm of a quiet gallop or a peaceful wave on a calm ocean, a slow, deliberate wave of peace flowing through your core. Feel your heart beat calmly, softly, a comforting drum of life within you, steady and unwavering, radiating warmth. Allow your stomach to soften and relax with each gentle breath, releasing any tightness, any residual stress. Feel a soothing warmth spread through your abdomen, bringing a profound sense of comfort and ease, as if a soft, warm light glows within your center, nourishing every cell. Let your hips loosen, gently releasing any strain or tension, allowing them to sink deeper into the supportive surface beneath you, grounding you in comfort and stillness, feeling completely held, completely supported by the earth. Your legs grow heavy, sinking deeper into the bed at ease, as if they've run a brave race, a long journey, a momentous ride, and now deserve profound stillness and rest. Feel the weight and relaxation in your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, allowing them to fully surrender to the bed, becoming soft and heavy. And finally, feel your feet, your toes, warm and still, completely at rest. Imagine any lingering restlessness, any final tremors of the day simply melting away from your feet, leaving them soft, light, and completely relaxed, unburdened. Every part of you is now soft, safe, and whole. Every cell in your body is resting, renewing, restoring. You are held in this moment, cared for by the quiet night, cradled in a sanctuary of stillness and peace. You deserve this rest, this peace, this gentle release. It is yours completely. You are calm, and you are already drifting deeper and deeper into the embrace of sleep, a soft, welcoming darkness. If Sybil's story brought you comfort tonight or helped you breathe a little deeper, consider subscribing. This quiet space grows with each gentle listener like you. We are building a sanctuary of sound, a place where tales of calm warriors and forgotten heroes guide you to peace. Your gentle presence helps us reach more hearts seeking quiet, more minds longing for rest. And with every follow, I'm able to share more stories, more calm, more healing, more rest, more moments of quiet courage, more gentle journeys into dreamland, always here for you when you need them most. So whenever the night feels heavy, whenever your mind races or your spirit feels weary, you'll know there's a soft voice waiting here for you, a gentle narrative to carry you safely to sleep, a steady presence to guide you home. Final breath and fade out. Take one last deep breath in, filling yourself with quiet peace, with the gentle resolve of Sybil, with the stillness of the night. Feel this peace settle deep within your very core, radiating outward to every part of your being. And as you exhale, let everything go, all thoughts, all sounds, all sensations. Allow them to dissolve into the vast, quiet space around you, like mist vanishing into the dawn. Let the night hold you now, a soft blanket of darkness and tranquility. Feel its gentle weight, its profound calm, enveloping you completely. Let sleep take the reins, gently guiding you into a deep restorative rest, carrying you effortlessly into the realm of dreams, into a world of peace and renewal. Good night, brave soul. You are peace. You are rest.